For this video, we are going to try out a very unique game called The Adventures of Tom Bombadil by Shoreless Skies Publishing.
Ta-da!
Old Tom Bombadil is a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket is, and his boots are yellow. None has ever caught him yet, for Tom he is the master. His songs are stronger songs, and his feet are faster. Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming. Well, there you have it, one of the songs of Tom Bombadil from The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Tom Bombadil is such a cool character. Tolkien wrote him into this story as something of an enigma. We don't know much about where he comes from or who he is. And this game, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, is a chance for us as players to set ourselves into Tom Bombadil's life and to try to explore some themes and ideas surrounding this really cool character. The Adventures of Tom Bombadil is a free PDF game that is released by Shoreless Skies Publishing. I will include a link down below if you'd like to download the game rules for yourself. It's a pretty simple game to play. Basically, you are going to be creating stanzas as part of Tom Bombadil's song that tells a story about his life. What you're going to need for this is 2d6 dice of different colors. You're going to need the rules, obviously, and we're going to be able to use the chart here on this other page in order to get us started. What I want to do here is to basically just walk you through the simple rules and then give you an example of how the game can actually look. The goal of the game is simply to produce a great poem or song using prompts and to do it by yourself or with other players. Let's begin by looking at this chart here. It tells you how many players you have and how many stanzas you should be using in the game. I'm going to play by myself here, so one person, 8 stanzas will be produced. Here's the structure that they provide us, which it can help direct how we write our stanzas. I'll just read you the little paragraph here. It says, the stories Tolkien wrote about Tom Bombadil seems to revolve around a few things: the land, the trouble, and the resolution. To help keep this style, you may choose to follow the outline below, and we have a 3-part outline here. Part 1, Tom is off doing something. Part 2, Tom gets into trouble. And Part 3, Tom resolves the trouble and goes home. For the actual gameplay, we're going to need to start to roll some dice and consult our chart here. For each stanza, we are going to have 2 rhyming couplets. So let me give you an example if you're not familiar with poetry. Here is the line, Old Tom Bombadil was a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket was, and his boots were yellow. That is 1 rhyming couplet. We're going to have 2 of these in each stanza. So for each of our stanzas, we're going to need to roll twice on our chart to get 2 words to work with. So let's go ahead and roll off and see what we have for our first rhyming couplet. 2, 3, trapped. Okay, and our next one will be 4, 2. So feather. We have trapped and we have feather. Let's see what we can come up with. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. We have our 2 rhyming couplets in our 1 stanza here, and we used our words trapped and feather. So this is the song we have so far. 4 small Shire folk are trapped inside a willow. Their shouts awake the sleeping Tom, head resting on a pillow. He jumps on up, pulls on his coat, and out to face the weather. The stormy winds, they blow him on like gusts under a feather. All right, that's our first stanza. We need 7 more, and we're going to need to roll for some more prompts. So here's what we have so far. We have trapped and feather in our first stanza, our first 2 rhyming couplets. Let's go ahead now and roll for the second one. 1, 5. We have dingle. That is a great word. Dingle, we're going to have to incorporate that somehow. And a 6 and a 2, which will be wind. Well, that seems to fit with the theme we have going on so far. Our third one, let's roll that off, and we have a 5, 2, which will be Old Man Willow. Well, this is looking really good so far with what we are working with. Next one will be 6, 3, Buttercups. Okay. And our 4th stanza, first rhyming couplet, will be 6, 3, Buttercups again. Okay, we'll stick with the same theme. Buttercups. And the second rhyming couplet will be 3, 3, Starling. Okay, 5th one. Let's roll this one off, and we get a 2, 1. This will be Boots. And the next one will be 1-4 sun. Okay, I'm starting to see a bit of a story come out. We had a storm and some wind, and now the sun perhaps will be coming out. 4-3 sky. The next one is going to be 3-4, which will be forgot. 7th stanza here, and 5-4 will be tricked. Second to last stanza we're working on here. We've got 4-3 sky once again. And for our final stanza here, we need 2 more prompts. 1-1 jacket. And our final prompt for our final stanza will be 4-6, which will be do. Okay, there we have a lot to work with, and we can go ahead now and compose the rest of our song with these prompts for our rhyming couplets and our stanzas, and we will then give you the entire song when we are finished. So here we have it. With just a few minutes, I'm able to throw together this song, this poem. I don't think it's going to be great, but hey, I tried to incorporate all of the prompts and to do it with these rhyming couplings in our 8 stanzas. When you play this game with others, it's obviously going to be a lot different than when you do it by yourself, because you're going to be passing the poem on to others and they will have to then add to it. But I'm coming up with this entirely on my own. I'm going to go ahead and try to come up with something of a melody as I sing you the Song of Tom Bombadil. 4 small Shire folk are trapped inside a willow. The shouts awake the sleeping Tom, head resting on a pillow. He jumps on up, pulls on his coat, and out to face the weather. The stormy winds, they blow him on like gusts under a feather. Old Tom is blown about, with raindrops does he mingle, till finally he trickles down into the wooded dingle. Here the gusty gales dies down, the storm starts to rescind, and 4 small voices crying out are heard above the wind. The shrieks Tom heard before have now become rather shrillo. They echo from the hollow trunk of hallowed old man Willow. But old Tom isn't in a hurry. He takes what seems like hours to wander through the buttercups, Goldberry's favorite flowers. He picks up several buttercups and leans against the trunk, blowing pollen on the tree like a sneeze there is a kerplunk. Branches bend and roots they shift, creaks and cracks resounding, for voices they rejoice, yes, like the songs of a freed starling. Old Tom looks down, guess what he sees? They're sticking through the roots. 4 sets of leg, 4 sets of feet, 4 sets of leather boots. With some yanks and with some pulls, the job was quickly done. They're standing now before him, 4 hobbits in the sun. Not a word, not a peep, not a question why. Just 4 tiny hobbits staring out in the open sky. Eventually they found their breath. We thank you quite a lot. For what, cried out old smiling Tom, the rescue he forgot. You see that tree, they answered back, we all were badly tricked. But saved we were because of you and the buttercups you picked. Old Tom shrugged his shoulders, looking just a little shy, as storm clouds once again returned and filled the western sky. I must be getting on, said Tom, pulling on his jacket. The winds are picking up, you see, and causing all this racket. With a gust he was again picked up, and old Tom he flew, leaving 4 hobbits awestruck in the morning dew. Well, there you have it, folks. A Song of Tom Bombadil in the spirit of Tolkien, but obviously not with the same level of skill as Tolkien. This was a really fun game to try out. I would love to try it out with more people at a party, perhaps, where you could pass a paper around and people could add on lines to the story, to the poem. And maybe even when you're finished, you could all sing it together to the tune of some other song that everybody knows. This could be really fun in a larger context, but a really great little game to play solo as well. I've really enjoyed it. A nice little break from the busyness of daily life to sit down and come up with a silly Tom Bombadil song. If you like this kind of content, you want to see more like it in the future, please do give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, and I will continue to cover more interesting odd games like this in the future. And most importantly, thank you for joining us here today at Grey Army Gaming for the future of gaming.